You see, when we are awake, Om is, I start my mouth loud, up, open, like this. Oh, it's got three syllables, A, U, and M. I didn't spell it as O-M. It is A, U, and M. I start my mouth loud. A, U, and M is three different states of mind, three different states of consciousness. One is when you're awake. Om, A, U, and M. So your mouth is wide open. M is three different states wide awake. Mind, you start in states of consciousness. One is when you're awake. So we spend the whole day in this awakened state. Jagrut avastha, it's called. The Sanskrit word is Jagrut. Jagruti is being awakened. You're awake, you're open, and so the sound that goes in your mind is and then you go into, then the next state of consciousness is dreaming. Ukara takes your mind deeper inside the dreaming. So when you're calming your mind down, the next state of consciousness, this is what is happening. From the being wide awake, Ukara takes your mind deeper. You're slowly calming your mind down inside, and so you pass through this consciousness very briefly, but then you go into that dream state. And some of us stay in this throughout yoga classes. I've noticed some people quite dreamy look they just in their own world. So I know they're in that state. They're in the Ukara state. So you have Akara state and Ukara state. And then of course the last state is Makara. Makara is deep sleep. So, and then of course the last state is Makara is deep sleep. So in a yoga session, you start wide awake. And then you practice, you go deep within yourself, kind of a dreamy state. And then when you lie down in Shavasana, you don't go fast asleep, but you go into that state, you pass through that state of initial laziness, where you will slip into sleep. Many times people tell me, I don't know what happened, I think I just blanked out. They went into that state of initial laziness. And then what happens is, the gap between the two Oms is called the Turiya state. The silence that is within the Om, the silence that is before the Om and the after the Om becomes a Turiya state. Turiya is the fourth dimension. The silence that is within the Om. I just thought, I like this guy sitting like that. So this picture up there. Turiya state. The silence between the two Oms. What happens in that silence? What is the gap between the synapses in the brain? The gap between the thoughts? Can you escape silence between the two Oms? In practicing the Om, you're slowing down the speed of your thoughts to such an extent that there is a possibility that you can see a gap between two thoughts and escape. And when you escape the gap between two thoughts, you enter into a state, a different dimension called Turiya. And we experience that a little bit here and there in dream states as well. In dream states, time and space doesn't hold. Laws of time and space are bended very easily. Right? You can spend like 2 years in a matter of 2 seconds in a dream. You could go from Trinidad to Bangalore or Haridwar and come back to Trinidad all in a matter of 3 minutes. In a dream, time and space don't hold. And that is what Yoga Sutra talks about. In meditation, you can use that same mind and transcend time and space. It's called the pratyaya. It's a different kind of chitta. It's a different kind of mind state that you explore. And once you're able to tap into that consciously, you can transcend time and space. So we have all these experiences hidden in that one Om. And that is the experience that goes with us every day in and out, from being wide awake to being fast asleep. So we have all these experiences hidden now, in that one Om. And that is the experience that fundamentally yoga is a Sankhya philosophy. What is Sankhya philosophy? That's what we're going to explore today. We had 6 different schools of philosophy in India. The entire Indian philosophy over centuries, over millennia, if you want to explain, you explain it in 6 different schools of thought. But we don't have time to explore those 6 different schools of thought. But one of the oldest schools of Indian philosophy is the Sankhya philosophy. In fact, some scholars think that it is even older than the Vedas. And so everything that is written is actually borrowed from this fundamental philosophy. In fact, even the Gita is called the Sankhya, the work of Sankhya philosophy. That's why Krishna in the very second chapter says, he says the name of the chapter is called Sankhya, Sankhya Yoga. Sankhya philosophy, the founder is sage Kapila. In fact, he's so well revered that in the Gita, Krishna says, among sages, I am Kapila. So if Vyasa had to write that, that means at that level, in those days, Vyasa and all those people regarded Kapila as the very incarnation of God himself, that is the highest. And therefore, all philosophies of Indian thought borrow in some form from the Sankhya philosophy. And that is what we're going to explore today. And yoga especially is very interesting because yoga is a direct relevance to Sankhya, because in Yoga Sutra, Patanjali says, Atha Yoga Anushasanam, he starts. Atha. So now, let us begin the study of yoga. When he says so now, what is that before that? He says, so now that you Atha Yoga Anushasanam, he starts. Atha. So now, let us begin the study of yoga. When he says so now, what is that before that? He says, so now that you Atha Yoga Anushasanam, he starts. Atha. So now, because it's not a philosophy which can be explained in one lecture, but it is a must, because that is the background on which yoga is based. And you will notice, once you understand this background, it is beyond any religion. Beyond any religion. Because at the time, the religion was not even, it was not even, that's why, you see, those ancient civilizations, they called themselves Sanatana Dharma. Sanatana Dharma was not a religion, is not a religion. It's the eternal Dharma. That's why. And what is that Dharma? Is going back to your inner divinity and finding that you have been always eternal. That you are eternal. There's something within you that is eternal. Once you discover that, then you become a Sanatana Dharmist. So that was a life that they were living and they were practicing. So this is way beyond any kind of religious thought that came much later. Alright, so Sankhya philosophy, and if you open your book, there is a chart which I would ask you to refer to it as we go around. I hope you have your reading glasses on. So Sankhya, it's a really small print, but I must thank Mr. Madhav Maharaj, who was very kind to print about 500 and odd booklets like these. So please hold on to this and bring it again. It contains the gist of all the 4 days. We will go through this, but you'll see, as I explained to you, we'll take help of these notes and also bring it again the slide projector presentation up here. The fundamental principle, the basis of all this creation, at the very substratum of all this is Jnana. J-N-A. What is Jnana? It's a knowing principle. Though it is called Purusha means man. Or people say it's a cosmic person, cosmic being, cosmic God. No, it's not. Purusha is, though it is called Purusha is city, the one who permeates the whole city. That is this body, this God, this creation is a synonym for city, Purusha. And therefore the one who permeates this creation, permeates the whole city, is what? Not a person, not a being, but it is the knowing principle. What is Purusha? Knowing itself, knowing itself as it exists, pure knowing, in its purest form. So, I tried to get a picture for it, but I couldn't. But I'm going to bring this up here, because it is, this knowing principle will and always be in this state, dormant state. Well, dormant from the way you and I understand being active. Let's put it this way. I always use this analogy. I haven't come across a better one yet. Filmmaking, a producer in a movie. He has the money. He puts his money and he gives it to a director. Go make a filmmaking. Or the director comes and tells him, I have a fantastic story. Can you help me? He says, alright, I'll help you. Money, take them directed by. Leave that part alone. But if you go into the story of the film, the movie, when you go in, you will not find the producer there. You'll find actors, you'll find characters, you'll find the ups and downs of life, you'll find all the multicolored, multifaceted, the film, the movie, fantasies of what that story has. But you will not find the person who actually made all the ups and downs of life. You will not find it. So if you take this world apart, piece by piece, and break it into atom and story, like the scientists are searching for God particle, you will not find Purusha. The knowing will not find it is not. So if you take this And yet, without the knowing principle, this creation will not happen. That is the beauty of it. Like the scientists search for God particle. You cannot find the knowing principle in this creation. And yet, without the knowing principle, this creation will not happen. Is that clear? That is the beauty of it. But if it's not clear, let it settle and think about it. You cannot find the knowing. It's an analogy like I use. How can you not be part of it and yet everything depends on you? Like a producer of a film. Without this funds, the film can't happen. But yet he's not there in the film. He's nothing to do with it. He says just take the money, do what you want. I don't want to pay tax in the end. I'm going to pay for it. So he's happy. He's gone to sleep. What is he doing? He's fast asleep. Maybe because even those days men was all the time sleeping there. He gave Kapila gave them protection. I don't know. But that is what it is. The knowing principle is a substratum, nothing more than those. That is the fundamental principle. And then that is what closely associated with that principle is the primal nature. Now there's a debate among the Vedantists who say from that principle came this primal nature. But traditional Sankhya philosophers say primal nature always over the Vedanta. So they believe in what's called duality. So when they're talking of duality, it is at that level they're talking of duality. Where the knowing principle exists and then there is a primal nature existing in its state of equilibrium. We'll come to that in a little bit. But when you saw Prakriti, so two words are used in Sanskrit. Purusha, the knowing principle. Don't mistake that for a being. Don't bring a god or some powerful person sitting there controlling our destiny. No, it's nothing to do with that. It's a knowing principle. It's nothing to do with your intellect can't even comprehend that. Then you have Prakriti. That is Prakriti. Prakriti is it's considered feminine because it's hyperactive. Well, I don't mean to be sexist, but I don't know why he said Purusha and Prakriti. Prakriti is considered to be the feminine because a lot of action going on because it's hyperactive. And what is it? First, let's see. Pra in Prakriti is Prakasha. Prakasha. Pra is illumination. Illumination. And what is it? Pure illumination. Pra in Prakriti. Alright, I'm just going to touch upon this. I'll come back to this again. And then Kri is activity. Kriya. There's activity taking place. And the third one, P is tamas, manifestation. Tamas. So you have a brilliance, an idea is born, there's activity to manifest that idea, and then, so the idea of a film was here, so you have a brilliance, there's activity, shooting, directing, all that taking place here, and then the film is produced. There is manifestation. So this entire thing from creation, creation is the brilliance, idea form, and the seed form, the activity and the manifestation is a continuous process. We'll explore this in a little bit. But this is what Prakriti is all about. So all that you and I can relate to is in Prakriti, not the Purusha. When you dig into this world, when you dig into atom and matter, you're just going here. This is what Prakriti is all about. And then science is now slowly coming back to somewhere to a state of pure awareness, pure consciousness. There's just nothing, there's pure energy, sattva. There's only illumination. And then science idea. But beyond that you can't go. Pure awareness, pure consciousness. Because Purusha is not a pure energy. Sattva. Prakriti is caused because of Purusha. It's not. But in this case, right now, beyond that you can't go. Before creation, Prakriti exists in a state of equilibrium. So this Prakriti, I just explained the meaning, right? So Prakriti, before all this, before creation came up, what happens? It is in a state of equilibrium. It is right here. So this all these idea, the brilliance, the activity and the manifestation, sattva, raja and tamas, three forces, are just absorbed into one tiny bit. It's like a seed. The seed of a huge idea, the manifestation, sattva, raja, it's a tiny seed. The entire tree is in the seed, but the seed is in the seed form, right? It's like a seed. What happens to the seed? When you put the seed in the ground, by mere association with the ground, something happens to the seed, and the seed begins to open. By mere association. Put the seed in the ground. So Sankhya philosophy, Kapila says, Purusha exists in a state. Purusha is always there. That is the state of Purusha. The knowing principle is always there. And then you have Prakriti, who's existing in a state of equilibrium. And then magic happens. And then that is the state of boom. From that is always there. Something happens. And then you have Prakriti, and the first thing that comes out is brilliance. And then a Big Bang is not really discovered by science. Kapila wrote thousands of years ago. He didn't call it the Big Bang. He didn't even mention there was a bang. And didn't talk about sound at all. He said there's brilliance. And then a Big Bang is not really. So what would have caused that? Kapila wrote thousands of years ago. He didn't call it the Big Bang. There is another force because of Purusha and Prakriti coming in. There's a force again. I'm going to use this word because the moment you use this word, you hear this word, we relate it to something personal, individual, which is right to some extent, but all of this exists in us. And that's why the yogi said, if you understand who you are, you understand the secret of the creation. What happened when Prakriti is lying in its dormant state of equilibrium, but all the gunas are in a seed form, potential form, and you have Purusha just past us. Is not what happens when Prakriti is because of that close association, an energy called Sankalpa, an energy called Sankalpa is activated. That is called the will. Whose will we don't know. It's will. Think of it as a pure energy form. The will causes this Prakriti and causes, they call it Spanditumapi, causes kind of a vibration of a will. It's such a high imagination, a way to relate to something which is so beyond comprehension. So that will causes the first brilliance to explode. Pure Sattva. This is called Mahat, cosmic intelligence, which is called pure Sattva. Sattva is pure idea first came, pure brilliance. Sattva is actually splendor, brilliance. I'm using the word idea because you and I can relate to it. When you get an idea of something, a light bulb goes off, right? In your head, and like, I got it. So there is a flash. That is what is happening. That Mahat is what is happening to us every day. Every time 2 plus 2 is 4. I got it. So Mahat, cosmic, consciousness of intelligence. Now all this is like watching a movie in slow motion. We are really breaking it down slow by slow. Almost all of these happened in an instant. So when consciousness came out, pure Sattva, what do you think next happened? Next somebody or something had to own it, own the experience. You see, owning an experience, let me explain that real quick. When you're fast asleep, do you know you're fast asleep? Somebody or something had to own it. When you're dreaming, you probably do, right? You're dreaming. When you're fast asleep, fast asleep. When you're fast asleep, what do you say that? Sleeping like a log? Or sleeping like a log. When you're out for the count, however you want to put it. You do not know you're fast asleep. You do not own that experience. There is experience, but you don't own it. What do you say that? Right? Only when you get up in the morning, it's a memory in your brain. You say, I was fast asleep. However you want to put it. Putting two and together and you're assuming you're fast asleep because you are no other way but to come to that reduction. Deduce that you are fast asleep. But in the experience, there's no ownership of the experience. So the first Mahat or intelligence, there was no ownership. And then ownership came about. That means the first cosmic I was born. The Ahankara. This is again a principle. Don't think of some being of there. So the first Mahat, the I am principle came about because consciousness or intelligence was born. Was now in the I am. The moment the I am came, the I am, the big I am, cosmic I. The moment the I am principle and intelligence came, then all the three gunas almost instantly came out. The three prime, that was the Sattva, the Rajas, and the Tamas. This is fascinating. This is very, very close to the double slit experiment and what quantum physics is finding today. Because when you have an observer effect, when they say when somebody is observing, then all that infinite potential becomes very finite. This is very, very close to the double slit. Particles which would otherwise behave like waves suddenly behave like particles because they have a camera observer effect. I'm just putting a very simple language. But when they don't observe it, when there is no I am principle, you're back into that Mahat stage, pure consciousness, like nobody to own, there's no ownership. The moment moment I am comes, immediately you have the three qualities set and creation comes out. So creation is a product of the I am. As long as you and I think of I, whether we think of it as a body, whether we think of it as Aham Brahmasmi, whatever it is, Aham is still there, right? As long as it is there, this creation will exist. So creation is, that is why they say ego has to die. That is why in Indian mindset, in the Indian spiritual mindset, they say give up the ahankara. It's not by way of putting a guilty thing upon you, guilt trip on you. It is by way of explaining to you that is why there is even the highest ego principle has to be given up to experience pure brilliance. So that is why the whole creation takes place from the point of view of an idea, the point of view of manifestation. Tamas is not something negative, it's that idea. The whole creation takes place. And then I go cut wood from a tree, I shape a chair, and I build the chair. Once I have the chair, what happens? It's manifested. My idea has ended in manifestation. The one that was an idea underwent activity and it manifested itself. Now if you think of the three gods, Brahma is pure idea. Pure idea. That's why there are no temples for Brahma. Not because he did something foolish, nobody is worshipping him. That's all stories, right? But the truth is, that's pure idea. How can you worship an idea? You can't. Activity. All the avatars that we talk about are only Vishnu's avatars. Nobody else's avatars. Brahma doesn't have avatars. Only Vishnu's avatars. Because there's so much activity going on. You're from a fish, you evolved into a tortoise, you evolved into a boar, you evolved into a half man, half lion, you evolved into a dwarf, a man, a warrior, and so on. The evolution came. All is happening in the activity stage. So activity is given name Vishnu. Vishnu means preserver. Vishnu means one who takes care of the welfare. Because he's taking this idea and manifesting. And then what happens to Shiva? He's in the graveyard, manifested. So the idea is manifested. What is it done? Idea is dead. Over. The chair is done. So when your idea finds its manifestation, then that is the graveyard for that idea. And that's why you have Shiva sitting on the graveyard. Idea is manifested. The concept of Shiva is manifestation. That's why they say easy to please Shiva, he'll grant you your boons. What does that mean? Shiva granting you boons means Shiva is, that principle of manifestation is what is being Shiva. So your idea will, once it's found its manifestation, your Brahma, Vishnu and Shiva. Concept of Trinity in the Indian spirituality and later on in the Indian religion mindset. It's all from the Sankhya philosophy of the three gunas. In fact, there's a whole chapter in Bhagavad Gita later on, I think it's chapter 14, that is dedicated entirely to the study of the gunas itself. And every thought process in Hindu mindset borrowed from these three, the qualities, quality of idea, illumination, brilliance, quality of activity, and the quality of manifestation. Is this clear? I mean, this is fascinating because now, as an individual, I can relate to these three qualities as qualities in me. In creation, you can relate to these qualities. This is where Ayurveda borrows the idea from, and they say which kind of food has sattvic qualities, which kind of food is heavy set, which will make you dull. Sugar, for example, after a heavy load of carbs, what happens to us in the afternoon after 2 rounds or 3 rounds of chapati or roti, whatever we are? We don't want to work anymore. It's just carb poisoning in the afternoon. Tamas sets in. So food has these qualities. Everything in creation has these qualities. Everything. Not good or bad. It's just simply 3 different qualities. Qualities that can make you very active. Qualities which are pure and idea, in the state of idea, brilliance. Qualities that are tamasic in nature, which make you immobile, which make you slothful, slow, because it's manifested itself. You don't want to go anymore. Oh, I'm done with it. This is boring. I can't take it anymore. Your mind is reached tamas. Slow. So this is the beauty of Sankhya philosophy, and this is what Sankhya philosophy is based on. But it's not over yet. I can't take it anymore. So the sattva part of it, now please remember that there were 3 elements, right? We're talking about the sattva part of it. So from the ahankara came these 3 qualities, and from the sattvic, the idea quality, came the mind. The mind is purely from the idea. From that brilliance and splendor forms the mind. So the mind again has 2 sections here: organs of action, organs of cognition, perception. I know I'm going a little too fast because I have only 1 hour. I would take 3 hours to do this, but organs of action, are we in sync? Okay, thank you. Let me know if there's a hint of tamas, then we can change. The mind is a product of that sattvic nature. That's why all your ideas come in your mind. It's always mind that is thinking, constantly thinking. It's a great tool. And yoga, you don't really worry about the mind. Yoga is thinking, it takes care of, yoga addresses what is called the chitta. We won't have time to go into it today, I guess. But then yoga does not talk about the mind because mind is a small component of a much larger framework. We talk about the 3 gunas, only from the sattvic guna, only the mind has come. From the tamasic guna, other things has to come. And rajas is a combination of all these in various forms. Now, when you talk about the mind, what is the mind composed of? What is the mind composed of? There are 2 basic things. They're called karmendriyas and jnanendriyas. What is the mind composed of? One is called organs of action. These are the gross things of the mind. Mind settles down and expresses itself through these. Now these can also be understood as centers in your brain. Okay. The first thing, these are called karmendriyas, organs of action. Grasping. Hands are just symbolic. Think of grasping. And they use hands because it's an action. Grasping something, clinging to something, it's an action. Locomotion, feet moving, movement. So your feet moves, your hand grasps. These are all gross expressions of this mind. So mind, ultimately from the sattvic, everything has to come down and settle down to being something, right? So it comes and settles down in these 5 organs. And then you have speech, mouth, that talks and speaks. And then you have the anus, the organ of elimination, and the organ of procreation, the genitals. So these are all actions, specifically doing one function alone. Hands, you can walk in hands. If you're good in yoga, you'll walk in hands as well. But generally speaking,